So let me ask you, what is going on at Marvel Studios right now? Because from what we're seeing, it's not just chaos, it's full-blown panic mode. Before we dive in, real quick, if you're into real talk on everything pop culture and want to help us reach our first 1,000 subscribers, hit that subscribe button. We seriously appreciate it. Now back to this absolute mess. The Fantastic Four reboot was supposed to be Marvel's grand return to form, but instead, they're scrambling. Last-minute reshoots just weeks before release, characters being rewritten on the fly. And instead of building hype, they're banking on Pedro Pascal delivering emotional monologues about fatherhood while gender-swapped aliens argue about politics? Yep, that's the master plan. We are officially in the era of cinematic desperation, and Marvel's wearing it like a badge of honor. But hang on, it gets worse. Disney isn't just trimming the fat. They're slicing out entire emotional arcs, moments that were supposed to make fans care, test audiences. They're not just unimpressed, they're calling the acting awkward and out of place. And right in the middle of it all, Pedro Pascal. Apparently, he's fuming behind the scenes, throwing full-on fits. Not over bad writing, not over poor direction. But because Disney cutscenes, he thinks showcase his best work, ohand because they might digitally remove his mustache in flashbacks. Let that sink in. This isn't about making a great film anymore. This is about ego, about control, about pushing identity politics and rewriting classic characters to fit whatever post-truth message Hollywood wants to send this week. Even Silver Surfer isn't safe because comic book accuracy is apparently offensive now. Now with just weeks to go before release, Marvel's solution isn't confidence, it's chaos. We're talking about a movie stitched together like Frankenstein's monster. Emergency reshoots, test screenings gone completely off the rails, mustache drama, studio-wide panic. Tell me, does that sound like a studio that's in control? Buckle up, this isn't just another movie breakdown. This is a full-blown autopsy of Fantastic Four, first steps, and honestly, it could be the final nail in the MCU's coffin. Let's rewind and break it all down. The 25th of July, 2025. That's the date Marvel has circled on their calendar in blood. This was supposed to be the one. The rebirth. The Great Reset. The film that would wipe away the embarrassment of Eternals, the Marvels, and Quantumania. It was hyped as the comeback story of the decade. Instead, it's becoming a cautionary tale, an overstuffed, tone-deaf, behind-the-scenes disaster with so many red flags you'd think Bob Iger was out there throwing penalties himself. And what are audiences saying? Words like disjointed, lifeless, overwritten, and my personal favorite, embarrassing. So how does Marvel respond? Do they take a breath, pause, and reflect? Nope, they double down. They're tossing gasoline on a dumpster fire and hoping for box office magic. How? Just wait. Reshoots are happening right now, weeks before the premiere. That's not fine-tuning, that's trying to rebuild the engine while the car's already flying down the highway. And surprise, the wheels? They're coming off, fast. At the center of this cinematic pileup, Pedro Pascal. Marvel's bold choice for Mr. Fantastic. Except he's not giving Reed Richards vibe, she's giving confused TED Talk speaker who wandered onto a Marvel set and decided to stay. Let's be real, Marvel thought casting Pedro would be a win. Star power, social buzz, maybe even some award season chatter. But what they got was ego, behind-the-scenes drama, and a mustache crisis that's become its own subplot. No joke, Pedro Pascal is reportedly furious that Marvel wants to digitally erase his mustache in flashback scenes. Why? Because apparently the mustache is his brand, his identity, his aesthetic. Let that sink in. This isn't a debate about story or tone or character growth. This is about a guy refusing to lose his facial hair for a billion-dollar film franchise. And it matters because those flashbacks, they were meant to show a younger, comic-accurate Reed Richards. Clean-cut, brilliant, the guy fans grew up reading about. But Pedro said no. He drew the line at upper lip editing. And while this was happening, Marvel was busy rewriting the entire Fantastic Four mythos, just to cram in more modern messaging. You think I'm kidding? Because now, it's time to talk about that Silver Surfer decision. You thought they'd stop at reshoots and mustache wars? Oh no, we haven't even touched the Silver Surfer situation yet. Instead of using Norrin Radu No, the classic Silver Surfer fans have loved for decades, Marvel threw mythos out the airlock. They went all in on message over legacy and introduced a female Silver Surfer, played by Julia Garner. And the name they gave her? Shia LaBeouf. I wish I were joking, but nope, that's real. They didn't just gender swap the character. They renamed her after one of Hollywood's most controversial actors and wrote her as a floating space philosopher with monologue syndrome. This version of Silver Surfer doesn't surf galaxy as she lectures Reed and Sue about gender roles, parenting expectations, and the cosmic necessity of modern identity politics. Marvel fans showed up for high-stakes superhero action and got a TED Talk in space. One of the now-deleted scenes cut after test screenings imploded features Reed and Sue in the middle of a heated argument about raising their child. High emotional tension. Great character moment, right? Then suddenly Silver Surfer floats into frame and starts a 6.5-minute speech. I'm talking about gender roles, emotional labor, the father's role in galactic child development. You can't make this up. This isn't satire. This is what Marvel thought audiences actually wanted. And when test audiences finally saw it, they torched it. The feedback wasn't just negative, it was savage. Words like stiff, unwatchable, and embarrassingly preachy showed up again and again. One early viewer even said, and I quote, "It felt like a fan film written by someone who skimmed a Wikipedia article and called it research." And that's not even the worst part, because then came the acting. All right, let's be real. Julia Garner as Silver Surfer, that casting was supposed to be bold, fresh, reinvented. But what audiences got? Felt more like someone stumbling through lines during a high school play. One person even said her performance was so stiff, it could have doubled as a prop for a camping trip. No emotion, no presence, and viewers actually wondered out loud if she was reading off cue cards pasted on a green screen. That's how disconnected it felt. And believe it or not, that wasn't even the worst part. Pedro Pascal, Marvel's shiny new Mr. Fantastic, truly believed his big fatherhood monologue in the same scene would be the film's most powerful moment. According to leaks, he even whispered to someone on set that this was going to be his endgame moment. Yeah, you heard that right. He compared his speech about modern parenting delivered in front of a space alien giving a lecture on gender rolesto Tony Stark's final sacrifice. The ego? Off the charts. So, when Marvel chopped the entire scene after test, audiences burst out laughing at moments that were supposed to be deep and emotional. Pedro reportedly went full meltdown mode. First, he tried to get Kevin Feige to reverse the cut. When that didn't work, he went even higher straight to Bob Iger. Not to save the story, not to argue character integrity, but to fight for his mustache. Because in Pedro's eyes, removing facial hair for a flashback is apparently a violation of artistic freedom. This is what Marvel Studios is spending its energy on right now. Not on plot, not on fixing the broken bones of the franchise, but on facial hair drama and space lectures about emotional labor. Meanwhile, the real heart of Fantastic Four science, the adventure, the family dynamic, it's just gone. And here's the part nobody wants to say out loud. The script reeks of 2024 internet culture. It feels like someone wrote it by scrolling through activist Twitter threads and trying to turn them into dialogue. By the time this thing hits the screen, it won't feel edgy or progressive. It'll feel like a rerun of a conversation people already moved on from. Other studios are backing away from this identity-first formula, quietly, carefully. But Marvel? They're still sprinting into the fire race shut, arms flailing, hoping the brand will save them. And this isn't just any project. Fantastic Four: First Steps is supposed to be the cornerstone of Marvel's next phase. The setup for Secret Wars, the Mutant Saga, even the multiverse finale with Deadpool thrown in the mix. But if this is the foundation they're building on, it's cracked. Badly. Let's not forget 2015's Fant Four Stick. Yeah, the one where Reed Richards was a sad introvert, Doom was a tech bro, and the entire movie felt like a funeral with capes. That movie got roasted into oblivion. And somehow, Marvel just repeated the same exact mistakes, but now with corporate smugness and social commentary crammed into every scene. There's no indie budget excuse this time, no studio interference to hide behind. This is Marvel. This is Disney, the empire that dominated Hollywood for over a decade. And this is what they've become. They had one mission: give us the Fantastic Four we've been waiting for. Epic, weird, cosmic. And instead, they gave us this. You know what fans wanted? Reed Richards being the genius problem solver, Sue Storm holding the team together with power and grace, Johnny bringing the fire literally and emotionally, and Ben Grimm, tragic, rough, but lovable as hell. That is Fantastic Four. We wanted chemistry, we wanted heart, we wanted to care, but what did we get instead? A checklist. A floating lecture on parenting, a digital mustache standoff, emotionless delivery, and a plot that sounds like it was pieced together in a corporate boardroom by people who think the word relatable means, say, steps 5 times and call it profound. Marvel forgot the one thing that made these characters legendary. They're superheroes, not symbols, not slogans, not therapy sessions floating through space. And the worst part? Disney knows this thing's a mess. They've already started damage control cutting, marketing costs, delaying early press events, and that teaser trailer they're holding on to? Word is, it'll be a no dialogue, over-edited visual salad with zero plot, zero context, and zero risk. Why? Because they know. They know the moment fans hear Julia Garner's cosmic TED Talk, or watch Pedro Pascal try to get emotional with that mustache still glued to his face, it's over. They think they can fix it in post. We've seen this play before. It was called The Marvels and Eternals, and She-Hulk and Quantumania. Only this time, it's all happening under the illusion of a reboot. New look, new cast, new disaster. But here's what's different. Now, fans aren't buying it anymore. This isn't Snow White level backlash yet. But just wait until that trailer drops. When the world finally sees what Marvel's cooked up in its post-Endgame identity spiral, it's going to hit like a nuclear bomb. And let's not pretend Pedro Pascal is the only problem here. He's just the headline. Behind him, a whole team of misfires. Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm is already getting tagged bland. The chemistry? Reportedly non-existent. The tone? Swerving from space opera to group therapy with laser beams. This isn't a fresh start. It's a funeral. No center, no soul, no spark. Just another checkbox superhero film built for clout, not for fans. And if this is Marvel's idea of a first step, it's not a step at all. It's a stumble, a fall, a headfirst dive into the same pit that already swallowed up once great franchises. So be honest, is this what you were waiting for? Because from where I'm sitting, this doesn't look like a reboot. It looks like a eulogy. And unless something drastic changes in the next few weeks, I'm calling it now Fantastic Four. First steps might be the final nail in the MCU's coffin. But I want to know what you think. Did Marvel completely miscast this movie? Is this gender swap Silver Surfer just another corporate gimmick? Should they have stuck with John Krasinski and given fans the version they've been asking for since day one? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you're as done with this madness as I am, hit that like button to support the channel. This is Pop Watch, and I'll see you in the next one.